the music, let's go. I'm your boy, Ro OG, member of the Orange Bowl Boys, and welcome to a special playoff edition of Student of the Game Preview, one in which your Miami Hurricanes are set to face the Texas A&M Aggies at Kyle Field, and they're 100K strong, wearing their overalls, doing those funky dances. But you know what? There's a common opponent this year. Yeah, we know exactly who it is. It's Notre Dame. And Texas A&M on this 2nd and 6. Very creative wrinkle. Right now, they're known as FIB, which stands for Formation into the Boundary. They're to the short side of the field, and they have numbers. They have 3-by-1. But post-snap, they're going to go ahead and be 3-by-1 to the field side, and it catches Notre Dame in some man principles. So, highlighted inside the box, you're going to see the safety who's responsible for the motion man, and we're going to see it clear as day. So there's an auto-direct call, and you're going to see it here. Now that there's a motion, they're changing spots, the two safeties. We have a safety who's going to play single high. Now we have another safety who's supposed to go ahead and match this as the new 2. Okay, DB2, you're over the wide receiver 2. And something happens right around here, gets his head inside, pauses right there. You see all the backs and man principles. They lose sight of that. Now, here you go. Creative by Texas A&M. They were FIB heavy, 3-by-1. Now look to the field side. Now they have 3 to the field side. You catch one DB slipping, and this is just great play, great speed. This is something you notice right off the rip. Great play. You're in your shadow of your end zone, and you go all the way and you score on the road. Great play. Way to go, FIB. Switch it. But you caught them on something. Texas A&M is going to get victimized here when they stunt both defensive tackles from the inside out, and they have their mic coming right down Main Street. 21's the mic. But I want to borrow an adage from a vintage classic 80s movie. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Yeah, I'm talking about Predator. But if you can block it, well, you can run on it. And it's exactly what Notre Dame does here. You're going to see the defensive tackle stunt around, earlier pictured, and you're going to see the mic come right down Main Street. There they go. Great job right here, meaning a hat on a hat. But like I said, if you can block it, you can run on it. Good job by the Domers here. And they're just a little bit more physical inside the red zone, push people over, and we don't say bang for the other team. One of the other things I got to go ahead and point out, too, because, man, rough day for you, little buddy, because just got to be more physical on the day. He's going to get hit and hit again. Not all interceptions are on the backs of the quarterback. If you've been following this channel, you know we use a color-coded system to go ahead and grade it. Green, yeah, not on the quarterback's fault. Yellow, there's some mitigating circumstances, and red, clear as day, it's on the quarterback. Well, we'll get to the final grade at the end of this because Texas A&M quarterback is going to throw an interception. But before we get there, let's see how. This is going to be high index of suspicion. This is an RPO. We're going to see basically how the offensive line blocks here and the quarterback's vision. He's doing something at the mesh point. He's reading something. So we're going to piece those two and say this was an RPO. Now, you're going to see what he's reading. We put that in the highlight box. There you go. In the mesh point, did you see where his vision went? He saw that safety by Notre Dame crashing into the box. So he's like, okay, they're bringing extra to the party in the run game. I should have a dinner bell in the pass game. And this is what he sees when he goes and decides to throw the ball. Right now, he's got the decision. I'm throwing. It's back on back. That is advantage typically for the offense. But give credit to the Notre Dame cornerback here. And let's just be honest, Canes fans, the Fighting Irish secondary was the best secondary we faced all year. I would say the Gators were a close second, but he's in phase, snaps his head around. Perfect timing for that because he understands football. This is when that back shoulder fade's probably coming out. Great play. So I'm going to give it an orange. The mitigating circumstance was that the Notre Dame cornerback, well, he was just damn good. Everybody runs mesh. It's just how you get to mesh that matters. And here, the Fighting Irish ace gun 2x2. You're going to have the field side one motion in. He's going to replace as the 2. And that's going to be one of your crossers. Now, you've heard some people debate, like, I can't stand mesh against zone. Okay, it's a great man beater. But I got a question for you. What happens when you run mesh against half of a zone and half man coverage? It's still a really good play. Because right here at the top of the screen, let's go ahead and watch this in parts. This is the field side. There's that field side switch I told you on the motion that's coming. You're going to see a lot of the zone eyes, right? Zone eyes, meaning, hey, DB's watching you. Cornerbacks, right? Safety's looking back into the backfield. That's zone all day, okay? So we get that. Now, like I said, all right, we're backing this up. Down here, definitely man coverage, man principles. You got a DB2 over a wide receiver 2 and a DB1 over a wide receiver 1. Let's see what they do. All right, they're going to go ahead and run, step for step. They're running with their guys. So hybrid coverage there, and the soup du jour on this mesh as well, mesh rail. Running back is just running down the rail of the field. They lose sight of him. He's a pretty good player, that number 4. Gets into the end zone. So we like mesh too. Texas A&M appears to be in its 21 set personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and they're going to do a play action vertical concept. Now, at the end of this, you're going to see 2 wide receivers kind of throttle that down, but I'll explain that caveat on the back end. But, earlier we saw somebody kind of clearing on a vertical and somebody running underneath. That's exactly what's going to happen here between the tight end and one of the running backs. Now, play action, not an RPO. How can we tell? Just look at the offensive linemen. 4 of them are, doing that one, backing away from the glass. But you do have, to sell the effect of the play action pass, 1 offensive lineman pulling. Okay, and there you do. And it did its job because it brought the flow bait, right? There you go. 2 linebackers flush up. That was the intent of pulling that lineman. So 1 tight end clearing, 1 running back underneath. Good ball right here to get vertical. And now you're on touchdown's doorstep. Now, one thing I say, all verticals. So everybody's doing all verticals. There's supposed to be 4. However, the wide receivers are taught, if you can't get on top of your cornerback, right? You're going to see this right up here at the top, and you're going to see right here. If you cannot get on top on an all vertical concept, you need to stop at 15 yards. So let's see where they stop. Okay, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, that's exactly where they stop. This is an all vertical concept. Just those 2 outside guys couldn't get over the top of their corners. But that's not the intent of the play. That was good job. Interception alert, and this grade's easy. Texas A&M, however, is going to drop 8 in the coverage with 1 as a quarterback spy. You're going to see the spy movement very particular on film, okay, because here it is. Just pay attention to this linebacker. So drop an 8, 1 spy. Here's your spy, because you're going to just see them. They kind of move very distinctly, right? Like, okay, yeah. See, not really committing, trying to watch this, and here comes the throw. We'll back this up a little bit later. How about now? This is red. Okay, you know where your check down is. That's great. You just can't go ahead and airmail that, and you give the ball away. We know our run blocking families, so when you see that horizontal step in unison, we know this is zone. This is a zone running play that bounces outside. Now, you heard earlier, if you can block it, you can run on it. Well, if you can make it miss, you can run on it a lot more. And inside the penalty box here, you're going to see a safety whiff on a tackle, which leads to a touchdown. Now, again, let's watch. Running back initially has his eyes inside, okay? Something's covered. Now he's getting the instinct and the read to bounce, which he does. Now there's that safety downhill. He's fitting into the alley. You got to put this on the ground. You got to make this play. He doesn't. He whiffs. And then there you go. Just 1 missed tackle. There you go. Into the end zone they go. 6 for the Irish. So 4th and 1, they're trying to convert this. Running back is now at the quarterback position. Wildcat. And let's see what happens. Looking at the A gap. Oh, it's not there. Let's bounce. D gap for life. Especially on 3rd and 7, in this kind of a front, you always got to pay attention to that last man in line along the line of scrimmage, and especially to that kind of short side of the field, because as a quarterback, if I'm looking out there, looks like it's man coverage, right? You got 1 cornerback over 1 wide receiver. 2 safeties are back, so what is this? But you're going to see what they do post-snap. They're just going to go ahead, that last man along, the low man on the totem pole there. Well, look, that's what he does. He's underneath to jump that into the flat. That other DB's not in man. He's over the top, kind of like that cover 2 principle, right? And this is just a brilliant ball, though. You're going to hit that right in that window there between the corner and that defensive back who was sucked up along the line of scrimmage and playing that in the flat. So that's a great ball there by the Fighting Irish. They're now in plus territory. Back then, full disclosure, I didn't watch this game live after we beat Notre Dame week 1. had no idea. I know they lost against Texas A&M. I knew that was close, but I didn't know like some of the key characteristics of why they lost. PAT, miss it, so they got to go what's known as like red, right? So now they're going to go ahead and scramble. They're trying to go ahead and do this. I got to give credit to this holder. Obviously, he's got some quarterback skills. He tries to Mahomes this. Look, just flicks it, no look. Maybe you should have looked. So it's 3rd and 8 and a critical component of the game, and the quarterback's going to go ahead and like beat you with his feet. Notre Dame doesn't spy here, but they are going to do a couple tendencies here that can't keep the quarterback in check. You're going to see this defensive end. He's going to stunt. And when he stunts, a lot of times they are in a prime position to go ahead and be the quarterback spy too. You're going to see this. Watch him first. He's going to stop, come inside. He's looking at the quarterback the whole time. So that's when he gets into that area where potentially he could be the quarterback spy. The problem is too much speed. He's in a trail position, so he's never going to go ahead and get there. So Texas A&M is rolling here. The other thing is, too, we did this against NC State and C.J. Bailey. And your defensive ends, if you're going to penetrate hard, especially on these passing downs, you put yourself at a risk. So you could either say, hey, let's pin our ears and go. Let's go ahead and like kind of spy this. Or we just kind of get to that outside as quick as we can, and then we're going to read the quarterback. So you have like different strategies, but you're going to see what happens here. He doesn't hold his position. He's just going to go ahead and get upfield and fly right by. When he does that, you see the escape lane. Of course, quarterback sees it too. So Notre Dame kind of loses it out there. Don't have a true spy in its sense, and on 3rd and 8, they extend the chains, which was truly backbreaking. I'm going to be honest, I'm in absolute awe of the razor-thin margins of what cost Notre Dame their chance in the playoff. Because who knew back then, week 2, obviously you fumble the PAT snap. I get that. But how many times have you watched football and you see somebody not come down with an interception right there, right? And you know how the game's going to end. And this is going to be the final clip of the evening, just when you want to feel bad. I simply can't, but this was just a prayer by Texas A&M. You're going to see in motion coming up here. Tight end is just going to go out and then go up. Double clutch, just go ahead, throw a jump ball. Got to give you credit there. Just too big. You know how those kids do these days. Too small. And that's going to be the difference. The other thing is, too, and yeah, I did see this because this definitely made its rounds on social. But my goodness, this was a holding call if I ever saw a holding call. And there it is. It just comes around, gets beat clean in the center. Tackles him. For your final time, I'm your boy Ro, OG member of the Orange Bowl boys. I'm going to do another game for Texas A&M, the Texas A&M Texas game. That's coming next week. Bang.